Hi guys, Jim from the Jim on Homes channel. Hey, I'm starting a new series of those things in your basement. Now, one of the things that we're going to work on today or talk about today is your water heater. Water heaters come in a lot of different varieties, from tankless. There's boiler systems that have a hot water heater or storage tank attached for domestic hot water. And you've got, in our area, most primarily, we see things like the tanked water heater, and they'll either come in gas or electric. And of the gas variety, there's direct vent or chimney vent. So we're going to dive in on this kind of water heater, which is a power vented direct vent water heater that's tanked. Now, before we start, I want to let you know, this is not a video that's going to make you an expert on water heaters, a technician, or any kind of a wizard. It's just meant for general purposes. And if you have problems with your water heater, I highly recommend you get a hold of a licensed plumber. You are dealing with pressure, heat, fire, water, electricity. It's just not a good device to work on yourself if you're not real familiar or accustomed to how these things work. So with that being said, let's jump right in. So today we're gonna start talking about this guy. This is the power vented. It's a A.O. Smith, excellent brand, and it is gas, and it's 50 gallons. So one of the first things I want to show you is, this is where the water comes down into the water heater. So there's a cold side and a hot side. On the bottom, or inside the tank, there's a tube connected to this side that goes all the way down to the bottom of the tank. So when the machine calls for hot water, the cold water rushes in as the hot water rushes out, and you're heating cold water at the bottom of the tank, and the hot water just keeps rising to the top as it's cooking. So next I'm going to show you where the hot water comes out of the tank, and it's right over here. So this would be where the hot water comes out. And then there's one more piece. It's right back here, and there's a nut, and I can try to get a close-up of that nut. And what that is, that's called your anode rod. And the anode rod is a sacrificial lamb. The sacrificial lamb, the water reacts with the metal in the tank, and it messes up the anode rod first as a sacrificial lamb to take the corrosiveness of the water away from the other metal parts that are inside. Hey, one other thing I want to mention about that anode rod is that it's usually made of magnesium or aluminum. But again, it's just a sacrificial lamb. And every once in a while, you may have to pull it out and replace it. Pretty easy operation. So next thing we'll talk about is this power vent unit. And what this power vent unit is a fan. So as the exhaust, the fire's on the bottom of the tank, the exhaust comes up through the middle of the tank, and this fan is used to push, mechanically push that exhaust outside. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But another part of the tank here that you should know is that there is a tank inside of this round skirt. The tank on the inside is typically coated in porcelain, which helps the destructiveness of the water from the minerals in the water not eat the tank away. Outside that tank is a layer of insulation, and then this outer shell is put on. So if we're talking about the outer shell stuff, let's go on the outside of the tank now and discuss that. So this guy right here is your pressure and temperature relief valve. And the pressure and temperature relief valve is one of the best safety features on here. It will sense if the water's too hot or if there's too much pressure in the tank, and it will open up and spill the water off at foot level so it's not hitting your upper extremities. And that is just meant to ever keep the water heater from blowing up if there was ever the perfect storm. And I'm going to show you a little more of that and how it would have to be the perfect storm. So one of the things about these tanks that makes things so safe is when you turn on the hot water upstairs and you're calling for hot water, it gets to the point where it needs to start heating the water again. And as it's heating the water, the first things that'll happen is this draft will be induced. it'll go to the outside, and there's a sensor that tells you, okay, now we've accomplished that. Then typically there's a pilot that will get lit using a thermocouple. There's a couple different ways they do this. This one does not have a standing pilot light, so it'll heat that up, and then it'll squirt a little gas in and basically start a mini pilot light. And then after that, when we see that everything else is working and everything's in order, that's when the gas we put in to light the burner at the bottom of that tank. And again, the exhaust is going right up through the middle, through a part inside there. It's about this round, maybe 9 inches. So there's baffles in there that slows the roll of the exhaust. We're pushing it out, but it slows how it goes up inside there. And the reason is that exhaust is going up is also used to heat the water, not just from the burners. So on the other side, we do have a gas line. And this part is called a drip leg. The drip leg is if there's any impurities in the gas as it's coming down, those should drop to the bottom. One of the best parts of having all these safety features is water boils at 212. But if a perfect storm did come up and nothing worked and this thing was just cooking water full blast, what would happen is, again, the pressure and temperature relief valve will open out and drain off the water, whatever's in there, to keep it from exploding. Now, if that didn't work, if it was the absolute perfect storm, one of the things you'd run into is water boils at 212. The water inside the tank is in a vacuum, which changes the boiling point to 269 degrees. If you have water that split open the tank and 270 plus degree water came flying out of there, it would instantaneously turn to steam, and the force behind that is equal to about a stick of dynamite per amount of gallons. So 50 gallons, 56 of dynamite. It's gonna make a mess. So that's good that we have all these safety features built into this kind of an appliance. So before we get to the controller, I'm going to show you a little valve down at the bottom here. Here's a valve. The plumbers say that what you should do is hook a hose to that and then have the hose drain out a little bit of water every year, every month. They all have their own schedules, and that will take the lime that's built up in there and flush that out. So the last part that we really need to go over is the actual controller. So come on down, let me show you how that works. This is my favorite kind of controller. And the reason is you have to have both buttons pushed in to be able to turn it on, which is important because kids love to play with things, and if they can't figure that out, they can't adjust the heat. And this one's adjusted pretty high. And my guess is it's full of lime, and that flame is having to cook through the lime to actually heat the water. So normally you'd want to be at that range, and that's roughly 120 degrees. At the 120 degrees, it's usually plenty hot for everybody. Every mark you go up, it adds roughly, depending on the manufacturer, 5 to 10 degrees. So as you can see, water heaters are not really a big hairy deal. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this entertaining and informative. And if you did, do me a favor. Click on the like button. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. It helps me keep going and come up with more crazy videos. Thanks for watching. 3 years of growing this thing. I would say no turning back now.
Okay.
Let's shave this thing down. And there we go.
It looks so good. You gonna sell the hair on your OnlyFans?
Yes. It does show you people will buy anything, especially horny men.
Yeah.
Could sell some used underwear for make bank off of that.
Yes.
The only thing I'll buy is a Fireball.
I hate Tastes like
No, you're
cinnamon.
such a dick.
How's Jeff doing?